Dano Ibarra. Dano Ibarra. Serial entrepreneur, internet pioneer, global executive.
Hi, this is Dano Ibarra. Don't go into a meeting without these three things. I wasn't ready until my mentor pulled out a blank card, a little larger than a business card, and asked me this question. But wait, before we go there, let's back up a little bit and give you some background here. It was 5 months earlier. As a senior product manager at Adobe, I went to the senior vice president of sales and told him I wanted to license PostScript to a specific major company. He literally fell off his chair laughing. Then he handed me a 5-inch binder full of business cards from this company and told me he'd been trying to do this for 4 years and handed it to me and said, "Good luck." I set his binder aside and called into the company asking for the product manager. After a few days, I tracked him down. He agreed to meet at a relatively unknown burrito place hidden deep in the back of a low-rent store that catered to the local Mexicans. It was kind of a scary place, but we met there for about 4 months. During our meetings, I was able to build a case why his company would benefit from licensing PostScript. He had thought about this a few times on his own prior to our conversations, but couldn't convince himself it was a win for his company. And given the extreme competitiveness between the companies, the business case had to be rock solid or he would lose credibility by just bringing the idea up. We both believed the business case was solid, so he arranged a meeting with a group of 15 managers, directors, and principal engineers within his company. I would be presenting as an outsider, and he would be on the other side of the fence as a naysayer and not revealing we had been working together on this. His company, after all, had created their own version of PostScript and didn't feel they needed anything at all from Adobe. I was getting ready to present the pitch to the group and was not feeling very well prepared. I'd done my homework. I put the return on investment details together. I understood their business model, their business objectives, and clearly understood the business case, but still I felt unprepared. So I went to my mentor and I asked him, he's a very well-respected and successful sales guy at Adobe, to help me figure out why I didn't feel prepared. When we sat down together, my mentor pulled out a blank card, a little larger than a business card, and asked me this question. What are the 3 objectives or outcomes of this meeting you will achieve? Well, I said, I want them to license PostScript. That was when he explained the sales process to me. Yes, he said, that is the ultimate goal. However, the people in this room cannot write the check. They can only agree to the idea and make recommendations. The CEO will write the check. So what are your 3 objectives for this group of people? So I thought about it a little bit. Typically, you want to come up with 3 things. First one, maybe how do you want them to feel about the meeting or the idea or the project? How do you want them to respond to the information you put on the table? And then what do you want them to do after the meeting? So for me, it was pretty clear. I needed them to acknowledge that I acknowledged their work on PostScript had pushed the technology forward, really giving them kudos for what they'd done. Also, that their unique developments that they had created would be incorporated into the main PostScript that they licensed from us. And third, I needed to demonstrate a clear return on investment for them that by eliminating the redundant work between the 2 companies, that we would all benefit by working together on PostScript, which would enable them to deploy their resources they had put on PostScript to other important projects within the company. And so the licensing fees would be less than the engineering that they spend on it today. So those were my 3 objectives. And I know they sound a little complex, and not all meetings are this complex. But that was it. Everything I had prepared supported these objectives, yet I had not written these down anywhere. But now, equipped with the objectives, anchored clearly in my mind, I slipped the piece of paper into my pocket and went into the meeting. The meeting started very rough. I hadn't even finished introducing myself when the negative comments began. They called my company arrogant, incompetent, and other very destructive names. I held my ground because with every comment, I went back to my anchors, my 3 objectives. Each time they said something, I would respond with one of my objectives, one of these things I had planted in my mind. Finally, several hours later, the meeting was over. Oh, what a relief. Although I thought the effort may have been a lost cause due to the conversations I heard during the meeting, I felt I had put my best foot forward and was confident I presented the best I possibly could. A few days later, my contact at the company called me and said after many heated internal meetings, they were ready to take the next step. About a month later, the CEO signed a check for $20 million. All the preparation in the world is not a substitute for a lack of clear objectives. You will still find me with a piece of white paper in my pocket when entering a meeting. On this piece of paper, I have written my 3 objectives for the meeting. This has been Dano Ibarra with Don't Go Into a Meeting Without These 3 Things.
Dano Ibarra, serial entrepreneur, internet pioneer, global executive.